So, as all liberal, as all leftist Twitter boycotts do, 99.9% of the time, they fail, okay? They attempted to boycott Joker last year. It failed. They attempted to but when people boycott Star Wars Solo, it worked. Rise of Skywalker, even though it made money for Disney, it still didn't make the same amount of money as Last Jedi. It didn't make the same amount. It didn't make the same amount as it sort of made more money than Last Night, but made less money than the Joker. Okay, Goya food sales skyrocket after the boycott by Twitter. Goya Foods on Friday he is not surrendering to a Twitter boycott, which Twitter they don't really buy anything anyway, so it's not really a boycott. If Twitter does not buy anything, okay. We're truly blessed at the same time to have a leader like Trump, who is a builder, said Ilona, who is Latino descent at the White House event. He's a part of the commission called the Prosperity Initiative, which basically means he wants to help people. They want to help people for Hispanics among the United States. And of course, according to Twitter, that's a bad thing. That's how Twitter operates. They're so weird. They're so in the Looney Tune culture. Okay, they're so crazy that helping people, they get triggered over it. Okay, they got triggered over an innocent kid. So like Papa. So who knows what Twitter does anymore? Okay, all Twitter does is go around and complain about everybody. Okay, so yep. Goya is a staple of Cuban food. My grandparents ate Goya black beans twice a day for nearly 90 years. And now the left is wanting to cancel Hispanic culture and silence free speech by Goya. So, yep. Behind Mexico, the United States is the second largest Hispanic country in the world behind Mexico. Really? I thought that was Brazil. I thought Brazil was the largest Hispanic country. Oh, wait, Hispanic is Spanish. Brazil speaks Portuguese. Yeah, that's... So liberal Hispanic politicians and airhead Hollywood celebrities boycotting Goya, which again, Twitter, and of course let's not forget the 5 people on Twitter who don't really buy anything to begin with. Look at the so-called success of any woke movie and game or book or TV show. It's not there because woke stuff doesn't sell. You don't pander to the woke because they're gonna lose money. But of course Hollywood hasn't warned that, okay? Hollywood celebrities continue pandering towards wokeness, and that's why Hollywood's dying. Okay, but the American public is doing the contrary and everywhere because the American public is not Twitter. Okay, I wish companies and people will realize that everybody is not Twitter. New York and California, so basically coast to coast, Goya products outflying ourselves for consumers who have not previously purchased Goya products, and now so is this because they know that the CEO and Trump, where they're doing this to help people, they say, hey. These people are complaining about a company who's helping people. And this is basically the weirdo-ness of Twitter, okay? This is why nobody likes Twitter, okay? There's a bunch of, weirdos who, hate everybody, okay? Twitter is just a echo chamber for people who just complain and cancel people and things they don't like. Or things that, have done wrong things, okay? Like yesterday I talked about an actress that was, that was canceled for supposedly dating a pro-Trump person. This is the craziness of Twitter, okay? Twitter, there's a bunch of complainers, okay? And I can't wait till when the election doesn't go their way and they throw a big, massive temper tantrum, okay? And again, this stuff is happening because companies and, media, and all these people in Hollywood refuse to stand up to Twitter and say enough is enough. They refuse to stand up to these 5 to 10 people on Twitter. And yeah, you're allowed to talk about the praise one president, but you're not allowed to talk about the aid and economic as a case of prosperity. But yep, he is correct. That's how Twitter is. They want everybody who, is on. And I also have another one about Ricky Gervais, which he is completely correct about that. Twitter, every time they cancel someone for supporting the president, it only proves people like me. It proves Ricky Gervais right as well, as he said. Anybody who is left of the Twitter mob is, considered, fascist and, Mr. Mustache Man. But yep, this is Twitter. This is why, and the boycott, the so-called boycott fails. But Charlie's Angels, a movie that Twitter was saying how much of a masterpiece it was. It didn't sell. Booksmart didn't sell as Vita. And all these Twitter promoted brands, the boycotts always fail. No, the boycotts always fail for Twitter support brands because they don't buy things. Okay, they don't really care. Okay, Twitter says, "Oh, we're gonna boycott this game or movie or food brand we don't like," and it always fails. And it's just Twitter will realize that that this stuff doesn't work because they never bought it to begin with. So that's basically it. Goodbye.